right, Mike, Vic. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank y'all for coming out tonight to our August 2022 Fire and Rescue Commission meeting. We're going to start off with a call of roll order. Call to order. Roll call. Struggling tonight.
James Holly.
Here.
Ben Meeks.
Here.
Alan Casper. Ward Rowland. Tim Cassell. Brian Shields.
Here.
Coleman Mayhew.
Here.
Kermit King.
Here.
Steve Stallings.
Here.
John Brown.
Here.
Bert Sellers.
Here. All right, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to go to the moment of silence. All right, thank you. Do stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All right, thank you. It's going to move us down to any additions or revisions to the agenda. I got one I need to make. I was informed just before the meeting started. If you guys look at your agenda, number 14, closed session. This item, according to our county attorney, does not fall under closed session. So we are going to delete item 14 and move that to under 13E. So item 14 will just become new business under 13E. Any other additions to the agenda? Not hearing any, I'll entertain a motion to approve the revised agenda. So moved. All right. Mr. Holly made a motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. King. All right, roll call vote, please.
James Holly.
Yes.
Ben Meeks.
Yes.
Ward Rowland. Tim Cassell.
Yes.
Brian Shields.
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew.
Yes.
Kermit King.
Yes.
Steve Stallings.
Yes.
John Brown.
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
Yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. So that motion passes. So now that brings us down to the agenda approval. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's business meeting.
So moved.
All right, I believe I heard JD first. Okay. Second by Mr. Holly. All right, roll call vote.
James Holly.
Yes.
Ben Meeks.
Yes.
Ward Rowland. Tim Cassell.
Yes.
Brian Shields.
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew.
Yes.
Kermit King.
Yes.
Steve Stallings.
Yes.
John Brown.
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Please take a few minutes and review your minutes from last month, and then we'll vote on an approval. All right, gentlemen, is there any additions or corrections you'd like to add to the minutes from last month? Not hearing any, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
All right, motion by Mr. King,
I'll second.
second Mr. Cassell. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
James Holly,
Yes.
Ben Meeks,
Yes.
Ward Rowland,
Yes.
Tim Cassell,
Yes.
Brian Shields,
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew,
Yes.
Kermit King,
Yes.
Steve Stallings,
Yes.
John Brown,
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That brings us down to presentations. Director Key, any presentations tonight?
Yeah, well, Life Saving Crew was supposed to be here to do the community paramedicine program, but I haven't seen them here.
Okay. All right, if they show up, just flag me down. We'll catch them up. All right, we're going to move on to hearing of the citizens. Anyone signed up tonight?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Brings us down to Fire and Rescue Association reports. It's going to be Chief Neal.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Meeks. Dean's working tonight, and so I'm taking his place for the Fire Rescue Association. So we got three things we're just going to go over tonight that's been brought to the association and was set up to be brought back to the Fire Commission, okay? Okay, the first thing we looked at is in reference to the return to active volunteer duty policy. And that's been something that's been going on for people who's been hurt or a big medical condition to release them to come back to volunteer status. The association has a committee working on the policy and is still working on the policy and is supposed to have a draft at the September association meeting. The draft will be presented and reviewed by the chiefs and captains. They will also be given time to review the document and discuss it with respective agencies and return to the October association meeting to vote on the document, and it then will present it at the next commissioners meeting.
Okay.
So does anybody have any comments on that? Ben or Chris, any of y'all?
And I think, Chief Neal, that's actually under our new business as well, so
Okay.
we'll come back to that. So if you-
Okay. So anyway, that's a good policy that we're working on, this and that and the other. So next thing is, in reference to the service agreement that was approved by the Board of Supervisors, the association appreciates their understanding and approval. The association would respectfully request the agreement to include the amount attached to the contract that we're being funded and that each agency should expect by meeting this agreement. In the past, we've always known before the agreement was signed, but this year the amount wasn't placed in the budget. For some reason, it was put in a contingency fund, which still has not been allocated. Therefore, as of right now, we are operating without a service agreement in the county. First 2 months, hadn't anybody signed the contract yet. All we are asking is that the supervisors complete the funding so that we know what we are signing the contract to do and for what funding.
Okay. And that's also, gentlemen, under our new business as well, so we'll have to bring that up if we wish to entertain a vote.
Okay. And the third and final thing is in reference to the diversions and holding ambulances in the bays at the hospital. This issue has been discussed in fire and rescue meetings, fire commission meetings, and the Board of Supervisors meetings. Where are we at and where are we headed? If you go on the internet, there are all kinds of documents that talk about diversion and holding trucks that refer to holding transports as being held hostage or hijacked. But according to the internet, federal law states that hospitals can't hold transports and they cannot accept patients when they want to hold transports. According to the federal law, they can be asked for a courtesy only. At what time do we as a group want to end this problem? Can we ask maybe the county attorney to research the law and bring back information about the law really says and what we are obligated to do and move forward to ending this problem? So, all of us, the transport, we run into these diversions a whole lot and moving here and moving there. And I know a lot of it is hospital staffing, you know, with the people. They don't have the people, and this and that and the other. But it makes it so hard on people getting on the trucks, not wanting to get on the trucks, and this and that and the other. And I'm going to go over this, it's sort of in accordance with what I'm telling you. I'm going to go over this right here. And this is true story, and it's in black and white right here, okay? So last night, our rescue squad was dispatched in Ringgold community. I won't give no addresses. We were dispatched in the Ringgold community last night for a subject having a breathing problem, okay? This call came in at 20:15 hours or 8:15 p.m., okay? 8:15 p.m. Our truck had an 8-minute and 50-second response time, which is a good response time, and got on the scene, okay? As they found out Danville was on diversion, that left us really Gretna or Halifax County, you know, pretty much as our two closest run. So the family requested, hey, we can't go to Danville, let's go to Gretna. And Gretna's always been a great ER for us and got good people there. Our truck left at 20:47 or 8:47 p.m. going to Gretna. It arrived in Gretna ER at 21:22 or 9:22 p.m., which is a 35-minute trip from Ringgold to Gretna. They went in, they gave the patient sheet to the nurse, said we got the patient in the truck. They were overwhelmed at the time. They were pretty much full. They hadn't gone on diversion, but they was pretty much full. They told them to stay out in the port with our patient in the back of the truck. So that's where they stayed. They went back in and tried again, can I bring him in? He started to get worse. And right now they said we can't get him. We've had 2 walk-ins of heart attacks and we still booked, which I understand that. All of them are overwhelmed. At 23:11, okay, 23:11, this was an hour and 49 minutes after sitting out in the parking lot at an emergency room. Our crew asked the nurses, the staff at Gretna, could we leave that facility and go to another ER? You know, conditioning of the patient. They still didn't have nowhere to put him. They said, yeah, they would recommend to go to Lynchburg. So my truck leaves Gretna ER at 23:11. Okay, that's 11:11. After sitting there an hour and 49 minutes, the patient was starting to get worse. We called the county for Medic 1 ALS, which Medic 1 truck is located at Hurt in the county, public safety. They met Medic 1. They put their medic on our truck. Our truck in return headed back to Lynchburg General, arriving at 23:51, okay? So we're looking at about 50 plus minutes after leaving Gretna to get back toward the Lynchburg area. They left the patient, we left at Lynchburg, and my understanding today, he got admitted overnight. I'm not sure how he's doing. So I'm just giving you a scenario. You know, again, it's not just Gretna or anybody else. The diversions around this area, what you run into. My guys left Lynchburg at 12-something. They had to stop and get fuel coming back. And time they got back to Ringgold, it was 1:45. Okay? So I had 3 people got on an ambulance at 8:15 last night to run a call. And they get home at 1:45. And then we sort of say, how come we can't get no volunteers? How come we can't get people to ride these trucks? When you're going to get in the back of that truck, and this is sort of out of the ordinary, but you're gone 5.5 hours, it's hard to put people on the truck. So that's just an example. You know, when we're talking about the diversions here, and here, and a lot of it I know is shortages in these hospitals, you know, that's what you run into. So that right there is just an example, and it's a true story, okay? So I was just going to put that with the diversion aspect, and that's all I have from the Fire Association.
Thank you, Chief Neal. And you got a good point there. It's hard to get volunteers to be able to commit to that, especially the guys that's got to get up and go to work 5 o'clock the next morning. You know, you're still stuck on an ambulance. And also, it affects our career staff because that, you know, you said you had to get a medic. Obviously, you needed ALS. And now that leaves that truck unstaffed up there in Hurt with one person. They can't run a call by themselves, you know, and I know we can't wave a magic wand, but these diversions are really, it's hurting us all the way around. And I mean, you get up there on the north end of the county, it's not but one or two ambulances once you get past Chatham here. If you take Medic 1 out of that equation, you're down to 2 ambulances covering pretty much that entire north end. So it puts trucks out of place, and it makes it difficult. But I think we're going to have some discussion from Chairman Ingram here in a little bit on that matter. So we'll move on. Thank you, Chief. We're going to move down to county staff reports. Director Key.
All right, we've only got 4 departments left still working on ARPA projects, so that's worked out very good. You know, everything's moving along good on that. Just a reminder to keep getting your invoices turned in so we can get your payments out. Mutual aid agreements, we've completed the city of Danville's. I talked with Jason Johnson yesterday with Halifax County. Their county attorney has it for review. I met with Franklin County and Bedford County. We're still in the process of discussions with that. Hope to meet again next week because a couple of them was out of town this week for Fire Rescue International. Today, the Board of Supervisors at Henry County met, and it was supposed to go for approval. I hadn't heard back. That meeting was at 3 o'clock. So we should have that one completed. Campbell County, I've talked to Director Fairchild with Public Safety up there. She's got it. I don't know exactly where it's at. Between her and the county attorney, they got it in for discussions for approval. I talked with Rodney Cates with Rockingham, North Carolina. He said that he didn't think that we would be able to do a county-to-county mutual aid agreement with them because their fire departments are all independent contractors, that if a local department wanted to work with a local department in Carolina, they could get their board of directors to work with that board of directors. But the way he says the Carolina statutes wrote, he didn't think we would be able to go county to county. So I'll talk with a couple of them on the county line and being able to deal with like Ruffin, Pelham, and Draper to be able to work out hopefully agreements with them across the state line. I talked with Barry Lynch in Caswell County. He asked that if we just wait till after the Blue Ridge Rock Festival is done within the next couple weeks, he would sit down and discuss after that. So that's where we stand on the mutual aid. Solar farm training, we've had training twice now in the county. Tuesday, August the 2nd, it was held at Brownsville Fire Department, and Tuesday, August 9th at Climax Fire Department. I'm waiting on a date from Gretna in the next few days, hopefully to be able to schedule a training at the Gretna Fire and Rescue Station. Strata, which was another one of the solar farm companies I've dealt with, was very interested in being able to host it at the Gretna Fire and Rescue Department. So I know Gretna's got a lot of stuff going on right now, so as soon as you can nail a couple of days down, we can get that lined up and ready to go. The deputy director spot, the interviews were held last week on the 17th and 18th. We'll be in negotiations this week to try to get that spot filled. And then I've got my paperwork back on the Schedule 6 Controlled Substance Registry. I got that paperwork back today from Dr. Long, so we can proceed with that and getting that finalized and get everybody in compliance.
Okay. And we've received ours as well, so we just need to work together on
Yeah.
when to submit. And will you notify each of the agencies when you
Yeah.
guys are planning to come out and inspect?
Yeah, hopefully within the next week, we're going to try to get with every department and show them exactly what needs to be done. That way, when the state comes in to do their inspections, it's a flawless roll. So,
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
yes, sir.
Sounds like we've had some progress on the mutual aid agreement, so appreciate you putting in that time.
You know, I'm dealing with Chief Johnston in Bedford, and she's trying to get with Chief Ferguson in Franklin County to be able to get all 3 of us together at the same time to get it accomplished. So we're making little steps. We're getting there.
Yeah, that's important. And Campbell County as well, I hope comes on board because we sometimes could use their help up there. They use us, so we utilize them. All right, that's going to bring us down to unfinished business. Any unfinished business from the commissioners? I kind of repeat it every month, but this kind of is under unfinished business or old business. The Fire and Rescue Memorial Ad Hoc Committee continues to meet. We met again at Director Key's office last Tuesday before the board meeting. We actually met with a firm, architectural firm, to go over some drawings, some ideas, kind of help us get our feet under us and figure out how to make this thing work. The lady that came out, she was great. We learned a lot from her, and she's putting together some stuff to send us. And then once we kind of can nail down a little bit better on what we want, she's going to help us get a dollar figure. But this firm was recommended by Blair's Construction. That's where we started at. So we hope to, like I said, don't have any pictures yet or anything, but we've got hammered out a document on kind of what we want to see on the memorial and what it's going to consist. We've took it to the association. They've approved it. And as soon as we can get these final steps closed up, we're going to bring it to you guys and let you see it all. So just bear with us, but I appreciate everybody that keeps putting the time in on that. That's all I have for old business. We're going to move down to new business, 13A. This is going to be Board of Supervisors Communications, Chairman Vic Ingram.
Hey, good evening. Good to see you guys again. You know, I do get a few phone calls every now and then regarding where's my check. And I take that as serious as you guys do. And if we make a pledge or commitment, we're going to stand by it. But I was curious about the numbers because I had somebody said that we weren't given as much money and the allotment per department was down. So I had Kim Vanderhyde pull some things up for me. And I just want to recap this because I thought it was pretty impressive. When you look at CARES and ARPA funding, CARES was under President Trump, that's an acronym, as well as ARPA under President Biden. But under ARPA, funding was $1 million to fire and rescue agencies that equated to the additional $43,000 per department that I understand everybody has now gotten, as well as the vaccine incentives, which totaled $81,500, and the hazardous duty bonuses of $62,286.35. And as far as the CARES funding to agencies, it totaled $1.4 million. So $2.4 million of the CARES and ARPA money went to fire and rescue. And we're very grateful for that. Some people said, well, that was free money. No, it wasn't. We're taxpayers. You know, we're going to pay that bill one way or the other. But I'm grateful that we did get 2 nice checks and we were able to contribute to fire and rescue from 21 through 22. And these are final numbers. Every department in the county got an increase, every one of them. I got the numbers right here. So if there's any specific department that you wanted to know something about, I've got the sheet and I can share that with you. But the last question that looked like was pressing on everybody's mind was the additional funding for the EMS rate change where we went from 15 to 25. And I know, Ben, you wanted 50, but best we could do. and the money that was needed to complete the matrix. So we asked that everybody, you know, be patient, give us time, give Kim Vanderhyde time to go through, the leftover carryover money before we even looked at contingency money. And the contingency was almost like developed as a savings account or maybe a credit card. And it's like only use it when you have to. And so when the word contingency was used, it should not have been. Let me just say it like that. That was money set aside. It was $1 million for unseen emergencies that would arise between one budget and the next. Money that we could go and take care of business. And so that caused a bit of confusion. But I am so proud to tell you that Kim has closed the 22 books and that there's enough carryover money that we're going to be able to take care of the EMS rate change as well as the matrix. Now, because of the amount of money, and part of the money was school leftover money from school board, it has to come under a public hearing. And so what that means at our next meeting in September, the Board of Supervisors will vote on that as well as this right here. And I can tell you, based on the colleagues that I've talked to, that we're going to vote to fund this. We're going to support it. And in a real nice way, I would suggest that people do what you should do. Call your respective supervisor and say, will you vote for that? And I can tell the departments in my district, Tunstall, Brownsville, Cascade, and who did I leave at? Tunstall, Brownsville, Cascade, and good Lord, I drew a blank. But the 4 of them that I have, Dry Fork, that I'm absolutely going to support this. And I can tell you off record who has told me they're going to support it. But just to make sure, I would suggest that you call and just ask your supervisor to please vote for this. And with that, once that money, once we have cast the vote, it's been approved, it's just a matter of departments signing off on the service agreement. The ones that haven't, you can fill in the blanks, and then once that's done, you'll get your check. So it's been a process. It's been somewhat confusing, and I apologize for that. But I've done the best I could to try to draw all this together and to share with you guys what's been going on. But, you know, most importantly, you've seen some good increases, and this right here is, in my opinion, is going to pass, because I know of at least 3 that have agreed to me they'll vote for this. So there we are. The diversion issue that came up last month, I sent Clarence a text message because I hadn't heard anything back from him. And I think him and Chris were looking at that. I'm not throwing it off on you, Chris, but I think in the midst of that, Alan Larson, he announced his retirement from Soville. And so that may have been a problem with trying to get a meeting scheduled because he's on his way out. But anyway, we will surely pursue that. And it grieved me what Mike said. That's horrible. I mean, it's just unacceptable. But, you know, again, it's the times in which we live. So having said that, that's my update. But thank you guys so much for all that you do for us. We appreciate that.
Thank you,
So,
Vic.
Chairman Ingram,
Yes, sir.
correct me or get me on the right path. You said, so now all the funding is going to come from carryover money that was
Yep.
left from last year. So,
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so it's not coming out of contingency fund now, is that
No,
correct?
sir, not a bit of it. No. And what I told some people that had contacted me with me, that if we fell short, I would dip into contingency to take care of you guys. But thankfully, we don't have to do that. And there's, you know, Kim is the wizard with the numbers. And I don't know specifically where the money came from, but there's a lot of different requests, and some, you know, some are funded, some are asked for, some's paid at, some's not. But collectively, the carryover money was, it's greater than this right here, so don't ask for any more. But it was enough to cover what we needed right here. And that's good to where we don't have to do any dipping in that contingency fund. And going into next year, that word would not be used again. Oh, and there was another question that come up. Well, why wasn't this in the initial budget? I don't really know. It comes back to, you know, we see the budget after it's been sort of developed. We're not in the front end of the development because the department heads, they'll come in, I think November, December, and start making their capital improvement requests. And it's in the process on into 23. But you know, it's, you know, I would say that there's a lot that goes into this. I simply don't understand. So I told her to keep it simple with me, and she did. So there we are.
Vic, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
You said you had talked to several supervisors that was in support of what we were doing here. Are you hearing any opposition from any of the other supervisors? When you suggested we call our supervisor, do you see any reason that it would be opposed?
I would call every one of them just to do that courtesy call to let them know the importance. As far as the 3 others that I've talked to, they were absolutely in favor of this. And then there was 3 that I haven't talked to, so I can't really say one way or the other. Okay. That's why I would encourage the phone call, just to remind them how important this is. And this is not this is not a coercive kind of movement. This is our system, you know. And so if you don't ask, you're not going to receive, right? But you know, it's just always good to do that, because if something falls short, then you'll know that you did your part, and we failed on ours, and I'm not planning on failing.
And I just want to remind everyone, especially for the public, the increases that Vic is discussing, and I really appreciate Kim's hard work and you guys at the Board of Supervisors' hard work, and I hope you'll pass it through. The increases we're discussing, the matrix increase, was a request before Director Key. It was Director Chris Slimp. That was the request that he had put in to the budget to ask for us, because every year he had tried to bring us up the ladder to match the increase in call volume of course, inflation, fuel, everything we're up against. And if you don't believe we need the money, go out to these departments, talk to the treasurers. They'll show you where that money's going. And he's right. No one has gotten their checks yet because the service agreements haven't been signed. And there's some agencies that, they're doing what they got to do to get by, but they need that funding. And that's what this increase, we didn't pull this number out of nowhere. It was the director at that time said, this is what we need to give these guys to succeed. This is what these guys need to be able to keep operating. And that's how we got that. Now, the increase on the paper call, yes, that was the commission of the old before come up with that number, and I did lobby for 50. I like to shoot high and get told no. But the reason we done that is because if you look at counties around us that have a similar system, we was way, way lower than anybody else on what we were funding per transport for EMS calls. That's why we asked for that, and they met in the middle at 25, and that's a wonderful increase from 15. So, that's where we're at on that, and I'm glad you guys have worked hard. I know it takes time, and we don't like to wait because we got bills to pay too, but I understand that's the way government and the world works.
And, Mr. Chairman, I did want to add that collectively, the Board of Supervisors have, through the past few months, have expressed their total support. I know there's been some issues that's been brought up, but collectively, we want to make sure that you guys have exactly what you need. And my hope and prayer is to increase it every year and to get to a point that you won't have to ask for as much. But, the economy, the existing budgets, that sort of dictates that. But, it's our hope that we can increase and at least stay status quo every year, if not a nice increase.
And I believe it goes hand in hand with if you look at the response rates and the responses that the volunteers are putting out. I mean, we couldn't do it without public safety. They back us up. And a lot of times for ALS when we can't get it, and they do a good job covering, especially up there. I know Medic One, we work a lot with them. But at the end of the day, 80% of the EMS calls every week in this county is ran by volunteers. And so they have to have that funding to operate. And I would challenge any citizen, a board member, anyone that well, I don't know why this department has that type of account or this account or whatever Facebook warriors need to put on there to make themselves feel good. But if you look at the call volume that they're responding to and the service they're providing and how much it costs to truly run that department, then you understand why we're fighting for this funding and you understand why we are passionate about it. That's all I got to say about it. Any other comments for Chairman Ingram? All right, if not, we'll move on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to B, return to active volunteer policy update. So, Mike, we're going to circle back around to you.
Well, I actually mentioned it.
Okay.
I actually mentioned.
So you guys heard it. Any questions for Mike? They've got the policy, and you hope to have it voted on next month,
Right.
and then it'll be submitted to us to review?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so no action needed. Ella, you guys are good with that? All right. We'll move down to C. So that's going to be the Fire and Rescue Service Agreement. Chief Neal, I know you touched on that as well.
Right.
Any comments for him?
No, if they get their money right for us, we'll be ready for them.
Is that all I am to you?
Now you came to my church and knelt down today and spoke. I appreciate you.
I believe we're going to have a motion from this body because we are still doing is that correct, Chris? We're doing a change to the agreement if you guys wish to. The association has asked that their funding be listed on the agreement, how much they're receiving, which I don't think that's a hard thing to ask for. Before anybody signs a contract, you want to know what you're getting paid. That's just a good business. And it's something we've just honestly looked over when we reviewed this last time. We should have called it. But I think it'll work hand in hand if this body sees fit to put that motion forward and send it to the board. They've already got the public hearing. They've already got to vote on the increase for the matrix and all that, and then they can vote on this that same night if they see fit.
Not to confuse anybody, but if you look at more than 1% of your overall budget, you have to have that public hearing. And since this is carryover money from 22 or from 21, that's why we have to, quote unquote, have the public hearing. And that will be advertised for 2 weeks. And then when we have our board meeting, we'll be able to vote and address it. Hopefully it'll be under consent. We'll just rock on through it.
Like I said, I think you correct me if I'm wrong, Vic, but I think it'll work good if we put this through. Like I said, again, if you guys agree to it, not trying to tell you how to vote, because if you guys see fit, y'all can put it on y'all's agenda And that same night, once you get all that taken care of, you can vote on the service agreement. And then everybody knows what money they're getting, and it can be added to the service agreement, and Chris can kick them out because he's been itching for us to sign them, and we need to sign them so we can get our funding. So, but the floor is open for discussion from you guys.
Mr. Chairman, so what you're saying is once the board votes on it, and once it's approved, then that number will be made public as far as each department?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, it would be put on the service agreement?
Yes, sir. And I think the association, the ones that were present, I wasn't able to attend, but I think it was 14, 15 agencies, maybe more. They unanimously voted, correct, Mike? You guys unanimously voted to add this to the service agreement, and their whole reason, and again, it's good business, you know, before you sign a contract, you know, for service, we're providing a service, they said, you know, we would like it to be spelled out how much we're going to get paid for that service. And that's just, you know, I think it is fair business, so. Any other questions or comments before we entertain a motion? All right, if not, we'll entertain a motion to,
Are we gonna have to bring this back to this commission for approval? Because we've got to write it, and we got to go to the commission, to the board that night. And then, does it have to come back to y'all again for approval?
that's a good question, I don't know.
Because in theory, it would have to go all the way back to the association again for approval, because this, they did not provide a draft of what they wanted tonight for us for review. So basically, we've got to draft it now, and then it'll have to be approved again. So do you want it as an addendum to it? I can provide everybody with the numbers, but, you're going to change the document, so we're going to have to go back through the whole process again.
I was actually waiting for somebody else to make a motion, but it was so long, I was gonna make it and I didn't know how to word it.
Yeah.
Somebody tell me how to word it, I'll make a motion and we'll put it up for discussion and take a vote on it, if you wanna do that. If you'd rather put it aside, I'll let it rest. I just need
Are we
some,
gonna have to come back and vote on it again in October?
Yeah, because,
September?
because you're looking at 2 months now, these agencies hadn't got their money, and then you're gonna push that back. It'd be voted on at the next September Board of Supervisors meeting, and then you're gonna be looking at October before it gets back here and back to those guys again.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of playing that, I see what you're saying, it's a good point. I'm just wondering how can we, all we're adding is the matrix document to the agreement. I'm wondering, does it need to come back? Can that be retroactive? If we approve it tonight to add that matrix agreement, that matrix with each agency's funding to because the $25 is already covered. That's in the agreement, correct? If they funded it, that's already wrote in there that way.
It says proposed.
Proposed.
Proposed, yeah.
So that I would say we're covered on. It's just the matrix increase. If we approve that tonight, if Bert makes that, so sees to make that motion, and then the board approves it, I don't see where it would have to come back here. But again, I'm not the county attorney. That might be something for Vaden. I don't know.
But it would have to go back to the association to make sure it meets their approval.
Yeah.
Am I right? That's the way the whole process has been done, so we need to change it.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the budgets, they was given to us. They were given to the association. They didn't have input on this first cut that everybody's receiving this year. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Didn't Mr. Slimp and folks set up the budget for this coming year without any participation from anybody? It was something they put together. And now, all we're asking is those numbers be attached to this, correct?
Yes, sir.
Not asking for anything more, anything less. What was given to each department at the beginning of the year, that it's attached to their service agreement without having to go through a bunch of hoopla, right? So,
Yeah, I think I see what Chris is saying though is they didn't, and I say they, I'm part of them. I'm part of the association, but we didn't submit a draft of what we wanted the document to look like.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
so this matrix has actually already been voted on though, correct?
Yes, this matrix is,
So, I mean, that's pretty obvious, and I'm not sure that it actually needs to be attached. You know already, based on that matrix that we voted on, right?
and the commission, so to clear up a little bit, the confusion, the commission actually had been dispersed at that time when the last budget was being finally put together for the previous year. So there was no input from this body, and I'm not sure how much representation the association was able to get. And I think that's, if you guys see, that's coming up later in the discussion, so we can get ahead of the game and not have this issue next year. But
So, Chairman Meeks, all right, in reading this again from the Fire Association, basically said the association would respectfully request the agreement to include the attached amount to the contract, okay? And that each agency should expect meeting this agreement. Also said in the past, we've always known before the agreement was signed, basically what the amount was going to be. So just like this gentleman here said, your matrix was put out with the increases, with everybody's increase. For each department, everybody got an increase. We had that matrix, so that's sort of been in limbo because we're waiting to see where we get the money. Also, the first agreement that they come out with to sign with the county, it had in there $15 a call for EMS, and we voted as an association to make it a proposed $25 a call. So the $25 a call is in a proposed agreement, and I'm sure Chris has got it. I got one at home. Everybody's got the new matrix that you was talking about. I'm gonna say this group was gonna get 32,000 where they got 25 last year. Or whatever. Some people got 4,500, 6,000. So I'm just saying, if we can use that matrix and go with the $25 like everybody's on the same page on, I'm sort of like Jimmy and some of them, I'd hate to wait another 2 months. I think if we get the matrix, basically the association said they need to know, you had to have an amount be placed in the budget, and that's the amount that we'd be looking at is the matrix that you had, and the $25 for EMS call. I would think that would take care of it.
Well, it looks like
Anybody
to me
else got
that
anything on that?
if none of the fire chiefs and captains agree with this, then
Ain't that right?
if they don't sign it, it comes back in here. But if they in agreement and they all agree to sign it, then it's done.
well,
I can send that matrix out again to everybody. I mean, and that way they'll know what their amount's gonna be. I had to adjust everything from the base being 26.5, which was proposed, back to what it was to 23 and 25. So that was where I had all my paperwork now. But now that it's gone back up to 26.5, if everything passes like it's supposed to, I mean, I've already got that paperwork ready. I don't have a copy with me.
yeah, come step up to the podium. I'll let you speak.
So what we're actually asking for is for that amount and the agency name to be on a contract. Nobody in this room is going to sign a contract that doesn't have a figure, doesn't have the agency's name. It's kind of like buying a house. You don't know who's selling it, and you don't know the amount that's on it. That was to clear up confusion for later dates down the road. That's what we voted for. And I don't see a problem with adding how much the matrix is going to give each department and their name on it, and us approving it the next fire association meeting and signing it right there. If that's approved by the fire commission or not.
So, and y'all follow me for a minute, this is a long drawn out, but the next Board of Supervisors meeting is Tuesday night, it's on a Tuesday night. The association always has their meeting the night following, which is a Wednesday. The matrix is already drawn up, it's in a proposed state, but it's already drawn up with the figures what we got. We've already got the service agreement. Basically, all you guys are asking for us to do is staple them together and make it one document.
Yeah.
So,
And put your name on it.
and so if we make this motion tonight to move this forward, and you guys vote on it next month and approve it, if it gets approved, then Chris, creating work for him, but
Yeah.
Chris can then he can go in there and just take proposed off that matrix and just click print, because the matrix is already there, and staple it to that agreement and bring it that night to the association meeting, or whoever he wants to send, and you guys sign it.
Yes, but
I
next
don't-
year, we would like our agency name to be at the top and the amount on the front page.
But do you think for this year,
This
if
year,
that's what we
I'm
done?
pretty sure that
Because
we'll-
if we don't, then you're gonna have to probably bring it back again, unfortunately, is what I think that we're gonna get told.
From
So-
what was in the room, I don't see a problem on it, but I would say from this year forward, we just want to
Right.
have everything in the contract. It's a legally binding contract, so we don't want to.
Mr. Chairman, the
Yes, sir.
only thing was, I was stating, if the matrix is referenced in the document, then that makes that matrix already legally binding. And you have that known figure. Therefore, that is legally binding for each agency to receive that money. And we have already voted on that to pass it to begin with. It's like we voting on it a second time.
Right.
All you want to do, he just wants a printed copy, but, anybody can generate that based off of the matrix we've already voted on.
So, from what I hear Coleman say, and Director Key, is the matrix tied to the service agreement?
I don't see it referenced anywhere in here.
Page 3, number 7, says the county will reimburse EMS transports a proposed $25 per call, which hopefully is up from 15. That's not your matrix, but that's one of the two things that was in question. That's in the contract.
Yeah, the only thing is, I'm afraid if we vote on another step, it's, like you said, it's going to come back to the beginning of the process.
It was handed out at the April 26th meeting, the matrix. And that was a proposed funding by the Board of Supervisors, and what the chairman said, they will vote on that this week.
So there was a copy in those documents that was sent out to each of the commissioners.
The only problem is that that's not an accurate representation. Because that was what was proposed, but it would have to be changed to 26.5 for the base funding on each.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, has anyone had any difficulty in receiving the amounts of money that the Board of Supervisors has appropriated in the past?
In the past, no. Most of the agencies, it was, we follow the service agreement for those funding. If you meet, you get your, what is it, Chris, 50% up front that initial month after, and then you get 35% as your second payout in January, and then you get your last 15% if you've met 70% or more of your call coverage, which will be, I think that's paid out in June, right before the year ends. But no, I don't think anybody's had any issues. Usually they're pretty quick getting them out.
So one more question. If this matrix is not attached, is this really going to cause a financial heartburn for these agencies? In other words, are they needing this document to secure a loan or anything such as that?
I don't think so. I can't speak on behalf of all of them. I think where a lot of this is coming from, and this is Ben speaking, not the association, it was concerns of would any of the increases be paid if we signed a service agreement at what it was currently based off the funding from last year, because that would have been the first year we didn't get any increase in funding since 2017. And with inflation, and you guys know what's going on in the economy, there was some real heartburn on, we're providing the service, we've got the percentage to show that we're doing what we're supposed to do, but we need these increases. So I think this was a way to help make sure that they were gonna get their due, is what I say, in funding. But, I mean, I see your point, and I agree with what you say, and I don't wanna, I'm scared if we make a motion tonight, we're gonna end up putting these guys into October, getting their money. And I don't know how many agencies are, skating by. I'm sure some are doing fine. I can't speak for them, but
Well, I can speak on behalf of the Renan Fire Department. We have already agreed to sign the agreement. We have not had any issues in the past, and I really don't see where this being an open meeting and everything, anything said here is actually above board. I can't see where that would be a difficulty in proceeding with the document we have as is.
Chairman Ingram, do you want to speak?
Yes, sir, very briefly. Once we vote to allocate this money, it becomes a accounting process between the departments, public safety and finance. And so once the money is voted on and allocated, and these amounts came from you guys, so this is what y'all told us that you needed. So that's what we're going to vote on. And so once that takes place, the way I look at it, you could sign the agreement that night and hopefully they'll cut you a check the next day because the money's there. And hey, if you don't use it, then it becomes carryover money.
That's right. Well, Kim's assured me it won't take long, so, to get the checks once we, it's up to you guys. So I guess what I'm hearing is we want to hold off on this. I mean, we could table this subject for tonight, and for, if for some reason it does not get passed at the next Board of Supervisors meeting, then we can, if it's still an issue, or if the association really wants this pushed through, because I respect those guys and their wishes, then we can bring it up again next month. But
This document, you fill in what's needed, where it's needed. So you actually write in, it says, the service memorandum of agreement is hereby made and entered into on this day of 2022 by and between the County of Pittsylvania and whatever volunteer agency. So, I mean, do I just need to type that in for each one? Or, I mean, they can fill that in and that solves one step of it.
Right.
If I produce the matrix tomorrow morning, that's the second step of it. We don't have to go back to the drawing board and redo this whole document right now. I don't want to hold the funding up.
Well, Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, why don't we just, right now, just leave this alone, and if it comes back to us from the association, then we take action on it. Because if any action that we do on this don't hold them up for 2 months
yeah,
from getting this check. I mean, if that makes any, but like I said, if it comes back from a fire rescue association with any, if they have any heartburn with it, then it comes back to us.
I mean, I can type in each individual department's name in that blank.
and that wouldn't be changing anything
That's not
because it's
changing
already
anything.
there.
It's just typing their name in there for them, and then when we go to print it, it's printed, so.
And I think, just like Chief Hunt said, that if, right now, they didn't know exactly what they were getting and what was proposed, as long as all that's clear what they're gonna be getting, like you said, they could sign the agreement on that night at the fire rescue meeting, and it'd be done.
Well, I mean, I had the matrix fixed either way. So I
Yeah.
had it fixed on what was budgeted, and then I had it fixed on what was proposed. So I've got both documents ready to go, just waiting to see which one's finalized. So, I mean, if that's gonna be finalized at the next board meeting, then, I mean, it's ready, so.
Yes, sir. Mr. Stallings.
I'm following this pretty good, believe it or not. But why wouldn't you table this or either make a motion to include this on next year's agreement? So you have from now until next year to get the things on the agreement you want on there. Everybody knows what they're getting already, I'm assuming, that's what it sounds like. So I mean, why wouldn't you just, because time is the issue now, these guys need their money, and I get that. So I wouldn't do anything that would hold that up. I would start working towards getting all that put on next year's agreement so everybody feels happy about signing it. Now, if they don't want to sign it after that, after this meeting, then they know their money's going to be held up waiting to get this thing approved.
So, Mr. Chairman, the way I understand it, if we make any motions or vote on this in any way, we changed it. If we just let it go or table it, they will receive their money.
Yeah, that's correct, because it'll go to the board, they'll have to vote on it, and then the association, it'll go back to them to accept it, and then it's another month, you know, so.
So in an effort to expedite this, I would like to make a motion that we table this.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor to table the service agreement updates requested by the association. Second. And a second by Mr. Sellers. Any discussion on the motion? All right, if not, roll call vote.
James Holly,
Yes.
Ben Meeks,
Yes.
Ward Rowland. Tim Cassell.
Yes.
Brian Shields,
Yes.
Coleman Mayhew,
Yes.
Kermit King,
Yes.
Steve Stallings,
Yes.
John Brown,
Yes.
Bert Sellers.
Yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, it's going to move us down, gentlemen, to 13C, correction, I'm sorry, 13D. So this is going to be future projects and outlook for fire and EMS in the county. I had asked for this one to be added, and it kind of coincides with E, which was going to be discussed in a closed session. But I think some of the commissioners in here had spoke to me directly and talked amongst themselves about having a work session with the association and including county staff so that we can kind of hammer down some of these things, so we don't have to spend so long in here talking about them. We can hammer down some of this stuff, especially important when we get to the budget process, which you guys know how government works. You know, we just finished the last one, and now it's time to start on the next one pretty much. So I just wanted to discuss it tonight, put it on the forefront. There's really no motion needs to be made. You know, we need to be looking at capital improvement projects and what the needs of our fire and rescue is going to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years, not just today, not just tomorrow. You know, the last commission, we had sort of started going down that road, was a little slow, but we was trying to get our feet under us, and then we changed up. We got a good group here, so I know you guys can help us do that. Something that I want us to look forward to in our meetings coming up to start putting together, even if we have to do an ad hoc committee or whatever, getting some, what does the fire and rescue need as a whole in this county to succeed? And, and then also, like I said, capital needs. Anybody that's purchased a fire truck or an ambulance lately, doesn't matter what kind it is, it costs a whole lot of money. And the county's doing the best they can to fund us for those apparatuses, but it's really a drop in the hat, what they're allocating to what it costs. Right now, fire truck, the county gives $200,000 to help buy that truck. An engine now from Pierce is going to, a 6-man cab engine is going to cost you $700,000 to $800,000. We just bought a heavy rescue engine, $963,000. I mean, you're talking about $1 million, guys, $1 million for one truck. And again, that truck's hopefully going to serve our community for the next 25, 30 years, but that's a lot of money. And then that's why it irritates me when I get asked, why do we, push for money so hard, and why do we want to build our accounts? That's why, because we got to provide a service. We need the equipment to provide the service. So just wanted to put that out there, and I wanted to ask, and I hadn't got a clear answer, and Director Key, I hate to throw it back on you, but maybe you, Chairman Vic Ingram, how can we have a work session with the association and include you guys to sit down and kind of come up with some capital outlooks and what the future of fire and rescue looks like in the county? How can we make that happen? Because obviously we can't sit in here for 3 or 4 hours and discuss things, but we can, but some sort of work session, sort of like a board does every month. So.
What I would highly recommend would be for everybody to be on the same sheet of music and have one rep to come to maybe our board work session and talk to us. we have that legal issue if two or more gather, which includes Board of Supervisors and Fire and Rescue Commission. So we would be in violation if we met like that. So, I would suggest that we could do an advertised meeting, sort of like when we meet with the school board and meet and have everybody present. That would be legal and talk about, the future. So, but to minimize, to optimize time and to minimize confusion, I would suggest to have two at the most spokespeople that could speak collectively for both organizations and all departments. Because it's like ice cream. I get 10 different calls in 12 different flavors.
That's right. Well, like I said, I'm not asking for a motion tonight. It's just something I wanted to discuss with you guys. The association some of the guys at the association have brought it to my attention. Some of the commissioners here tonight have brought it to my attention because they're just trying to be educated, and that's good. I encourage that. Be educated on what's going on, and find out what these guys are actually doing out here in the streets for protecting our citizens. So, Chief Neal, if you kind of pass that along what Chairman Vick said at the next association meeting and see if that's their pleasure, and if so, then maybe we can try to put that together and have a meeting like that. All right, that's going to bring us down to item E under new business. This was going to be in the closed session. The association has made a motion asking to have representation along with the commission on the next budget process. Chief Neal, do you want to touch on that?
Well, basically, I'm not really sure over the years as when. I know, years ago, Steve Finkner was president of the association, done a good job, and we had maybe EMAC committee or something. He met with 3 on the Board of Supervisors, and it just processed out. I want to think, really the last couple of years, maybe Director Slimp, has done a lot of the budgeting right there. And, what we're sort of looking at is maybe, just like you was talking about, have 1 or 2 representatives that could sit down with, of course, Director Key, he's over the public safety now, so you'd have Chris and 1 or 2 from the Fire Association and who they put with the Board of Supervisors, whether it's all 7 or several, for Fire and Rescue, let them sit down and like you say, and going forward, sort of see what we need, but from year to year basis, get a good idea of where we need increases. You mentioned equipment and stuff, which is going up out the roof, this and that and the other. We have got a pretty good program for training going now in the county, and that's helped a lot, the EMT classes, Firefighter 1, but basically, and you're always smart to do that, go sort of to the horse's mouth and let them sort of tell you this is what we think, and this is what we need, okay? This is going to sound crazy. My 43 years of Goodyear, I was work management and stuff. We get a big time problem building scrap tires. I got all these people upstairs in the offices with neckties on and all this stuff that handled the books and the payrolls and all this. We got a problem. Where was the best place to go? Go down on the floor with the tire builder, okay? And talk to the tire builder. He does it every day. What kind of problem you having? What do you need? Blah, blah, blah. You got more information back from them type people than you did anywhere. And I'm just saying, if we can include the Fire and Rescue, the people like that actually riding the trucks, fighting the fire, can help put some better stuff in the process. So that's what we was asking there.
Okay. All right, comments from you guys, input? Director Key, you think that's something we can make? Obviously, we probably have to put it in a motion. Is that something we could make happen come next budget time?
Yeah, under Pennsylvania County Code, Chapter 11, Public Safety, you've got it partially covered. Section 11-2, Establishment of the Fire Rescue Commission, because in that purpose, it states the commission shall assist with the development of fire and rescue services annual budget and capital improvement projects. So, it's sort of covered now. Basically, the association needs to come to the commission. Commission brings it to me for involvement. We can come up with, priorities and then bring it for the commission to see what y'all's priorities are, and then put it in the budget from there. So,
Mr. Chairman.
It'll work.
Yes. Yes, sir.
One of the items I think may be a concern, and I know for myself as a commissioner, is the allocation of personnel and equipment in order to meet the demands of the public service. And I think we have a disconnect because we may be familiar with how our agency handles it, and with this dealing with the entire county, we may need to know what type of apparatus, what they have available personnel-wise in order to meet this demand, and what kind of funding it needs to support that. I think we need a few more items to put together in order to build that budget or what have you. We need a little, I guess, do some data mining in order to see what types of calls we have. I mean, you look at the demographics of these areas, what have you, and those are the types of things we need to use to build this budget, proposed budget.
And in the last commission, I know the first time we assisted with the budget, we were provided, Director Schlemp at the time got a sheet with, of course, the matrix, what everybody was going to be allocated, but they also provided us with like response times, call volumes, and he also even broke it down to each apparatus for each station, how old it was, and then how many calls that it even responded to in that last year. And I think that would be very helpful. And again, I know it's a lot of work, but I think it would be very helpful to this group come that time to be able to, for them to see that, because that's really going to show them, what's been going on. And because Coleman's right, every agency is a little bit different, and we all operate a little bit different. Same goal at the end of the day, but there may be different needs at each one. It's a complex system of 25 agencies. So I just know that the association, from what I've been, I wasn't at the last meeting, but what I talked to Dean on the phone and some of the other chiefs, they just want to make sure that they have that opportunity to sit down at the table and express those concerns and ideas, and so that's why we put this on the agenda. It's up to you guys what you want to do with it. Is there any action we want to put on it tonight, or we just want to let this ride as well? And Chief Neal, we take it back to the association, what was discussed?
Whatever, y'all got to vote.
And I guess,
Well, I think it's like Mr. Stalton said, over there. He said, we need to get ready for the next budget. So hopefully we can get all this into place and we could be a part of or assist with, or however you want to put it. Like Director Keith said, it's already in the county code. So we just got to come up with who goes where.
But it says that we're asking for permission to have representation, or the association is. I guess that's up to Mr. Key to, are they asking him for permission? Is that where it's going?
I guess what they were, from what I was told, Bert, from what I understand is, obviously Chris can't just come up with this budget out of the blue. He has to sit down with other people from the county to come up with this budget. And so they were asking, could we, when we sit down and have those conversations, could it be a couple present from the association, a couple present from this body? We all collectively are going to give our opinions and ultimately our motions. That's how they do it, and then they pass it to us, and then we pass it to the board. But when they're actually sitting down, hammering out that budget to present to the board, they wanted that. They wanted representation then, i.e.
We were asking for representation. Having a motion and a vote tonight won't give us representation. I think just to ask for a verbal request is what we need to do to Mr. Key, and let him report back to us if it's going to be permission granted.
Yeah. And also, I think the biggest problem was last time that we didn't see the budget till after it was passed. We need to see the budget before it's passed. I think that's what basically they're asking for, because we couldn't, once it's passed, it's a done deal.
Yeah, that's the point Jimmy made just now. We never saw the budget until it was passed.
Yeah,
The year
we never
before,
saw
I
it
think we
till it
did
was
have a little input in the budget, didn't we? 2 years ago, didn't we have a little input in the budget?
Yeah, 2 years ago we had input. This past year, because by that time the commission had been disbanded, so we didn't really get any input. And then by the time it come out, we were new and we just didn't get any input, so. And I understand they were under time constraints too, trying to get to, but I think going forward, we definitely need to stay on top of it, because I think that would solve a lot of Vic and them's headache with all this contingency talk and, you know, that word being used and you know, what the funding was gonna look like, and that's why it's been some heartburn on the agreements.
When does the next budget process begin, Chris?
It should start in November.
I was gonna say, we're 90 days out.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it's important that we start looking at that data and looking forward in the future. And I would encourage, Chris, if you can, to start getting some of those documents together so we can look at them. And we need to start having those conversations, because in 90 days, we're going to be working on the budget again. All right, so what I'm hearing, we're entertaining just to let this one ride as well. And if the association would like to request to meet with you on it directly, and then you can just bring back anything that, okay? Is that cool with everyone?
I mean,
don't see a need.
consensus, just do a consensus of the board that we want representation at the next budget.
Yeah.
And let Chris handle that. You can get back to us and see if we're gonna grant that.
Okay. Everybody comfortable with that? All right. We're gonna move on then to 15 will be deleted. I should have said that on the agenda. We're not gonna open. All right. So we're down to other matters from the commissioners. So we're gonna start over here to the right. Director Key, anything?
Nothing, sir.
Yes. All right. Mr. Brown?
Nothing at this time.
All right. Mr. Sellers?
No, sir.
Mr. Holly? All right. Chief Neal? Yes, sir. Mr. Rowland? Sale? Mr. Ingram?
Yes, sir, I did have one thing. Unfortunately, our interim county administrator, Mr. Clarence Mundy, is resigning, and he has done us a fabulous job. And I've been trying to keep him, but he's got to go. What happened is that he had a home in Myrtle Beach, and looking toward the future, because he could only work for us till the end of December, he was going to see the country. Well, in the midst of all of that, he sold his house within 24 hours. And so the new owners say, thank you and get out. So he's got to find a place to live and to move his belongings. And so with that comes a resignation much earlier. But he has been a real blessing, not only to the county, but to me, with his knowledge of fire and rescue. I've leaned on him many, many times for his direction and guidance. And I hate to see him go, but we just have to say, see you later. That's all I had, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stallings? All right, Ms. Haskins?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. King?
No, thank you guys for coming out, but I just got one question maybe, and I don't know, maybe Director Key or Chairman Ingram can answer it. The money that's left over in the fire rescue budget, like the payouts that somebody didn't meet the standards of the service agreements, and does it go back to general fund, or does it stay in public safety, or? It may be a question for Kim. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but.
It don't roll over into my budget. So I guess it goes back into general fund would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm not absolutely sure, but I would think that just like other carryover money, if it's not spent, it goes into the budget, be carried over for something else. If it's earmarked and it's not spent, it's free money after that time period, so to speak.
And also, this diversion and holding these ambulances is getting to be a big problem. But we've been talking about this now ever since the old commission was in. We had the diversion problem then. And it seems like we're getting worse on it instead of getting better on it. And maybe, is it something we can look at for another place to transport in Danville? What was it? The one that was supposed to do the ambulance? That built the helipad, was it Central?
Central, yeah.
I mean, is it something that they need to look at again? Like I said, right now, we up against the wall with these guys out here that was nowhere to go. And I know SOBA don't like that. I know it's a dirty word right now. And SOBA don't like that, there being competition, but, we're looking at it from a patient care standpoint. And maybe that's something needs to be looked at again.
I mean,
And
like
also,
I said,
another thing too that was brought up last meeting was, if you go to the hospital, you get on their property, you gotta stay. They told y'all to leave. That's breaking them a lot of them. Once you're on that property, it's their patient. So, I mean, from what was discussed, Chris said, it's in the notes here from last meeting, if you, on the hospital property, you gotta stay there.
But they give them permission to go, right?
But,
So, and they went to one of their facilities is the only thing I can say.
I mean, if they wasn't going to one of their facilities, what would have been,
I mean, it seems like to me, we was all sitting here on our phone. Everybody got the same message I did. They went on diversion. It looks like it's time rated. Looks like in the mornings they come off of diversion, but every evening they go on diversion.
and the problem is, as soon as Danville goes on diversion, Grutland's going on diversion within an hour or so.
Yeah.
Because they can't handle their 10-bed hospital. They're just a ER, let me correct myself, they're just a standalone ER, so you overload them fast.
you can figure next month's going to get worse when the Rock Festival gets here.
Well, they're building a big casino down there, so hopefully they can build a hospital.
That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'll make this quick, I know everybody's ready to go. Director Key, did anybody show up to speak on the paramedicine program?
Doesn't appear to be, sir.
Okay, all right. We'll invite them back next month. Maybe something come up. I just want to thank everybody for coming out, all the chiefs. I said this last time I was on the commission. I'm going to say it this time. We all have a tough job to do, guys. From fire and rescue even to up here, these guys. So just bear with us, but we're all trying to learn as we go and make sure everybody's taken care of. As I say, block your haters out. That's what I do. I just don't even listen to them. But these people up here, I thank y'all for putting in your time and effort and listening to me talk a lot. I also want to thank Clarence Mundy. Clarence is a great guy. He's done a good job here. Second time around at the county. So we appreciate his efforts, and we wish him well and into his next step in life. I also want to thank your Board of Supervisors. I think they've been working hard trying to take care of us. And as you heard earlier from Chairman Vic Ingram, that next month I believe they're going to be able to get our money straight. And so I appreciate their efforts. And last, I want to touch on Thomas Page. He's a firefighter with Gretna, and he's also a firefighter with Hurt. Thomas was involved in an accident just over a month ago now. I said this last meeting, he was ran over by a vehicle. He was involved in an accident, got out, minor damage, checked on the vehicle. He was ran over, and then he was subsequently backed over again. So he was run over twice. He died on the scene, was revived by EMS, flown to Norfolk General Hospital. He was in the ICU for 28 days. They didn't expect him to make it. And today, he actually was able to say a few words, speaking, and giving thumbs up and things like that. So, miracles do happen. We're having a fundraiser this weekend, Saturday. It's going to be at 5 p.m. at Gretna Fire and Rescue. It's going to go to 8 o'clock at night. It's going to be a barbecue cook-off between Gretna and Hurt. Eric Colbert, the chief down there, he can cook some good barbecue, but it ain't going to be as good as mine. But we're going to have a cook-off to raise some money. We're also going to be doing a silent auction, a 50-50, selling some T-shirts. And I want to thank Climax Fire Department and Renan Fire Department. They've donated pies and cakes and money and things like that towards this as well. So they've really reached out and took care of us. So we appreciate that. With that being said, that's all I've got. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So move. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.